Wholeface Harry, Company Report. Recovered from a raid on a company base. Every now and then, our agents are able to locate company bases. For those unable to recall or uninformed, the company is the counterpart to our agency. A group ran mostly by non-humans staffed with the occasional human, as opposed to the agency, which is staffed mostly by humans with the occasional non-human assisting in agency operations. These are the people who are the masters of the Ashmen, and like the agency, they want to suppress the truth of reality from people, the hidden preternatural world that exists. But unlike the agency, who does what is done to protect people from the dangers around them, the company wants to profit off the various powers, to master the populace from hidden bases and use all means to keep themselves in charge. Nothing is too much for them. Murder, enslavement, mutilation. There are no lows the company personnel won't reach. Because of the politics of the agency and company are in conflict, they are usually hostile to agency members when encountered. Because our agents will usually attempt to stop their plots whenever a company monitor appears. So, when the agency is able to locate a base, it is raided with extreme prejudice, and any creatures they have captured are taken in. Any information in their base archives are claimed for agency use. In this raid, the creature the agency nicknamed Wholeface Harry was recovered along with its company profile. The following is taken from the company files. Subject 08147219H. Purpose: security. Name: Whisper of Cyan Winds. Whisper of Cyan Winds was a brilliant product, mainly designed for securing our labs from these feeble-minded humans who occasionally stumble into our locations. What is it with humans and constantly poking their noses in where they clearly do not belong? Anyways, from the 1930s all the way up to the 1970s, the company would release Whisper of Cyan Winds out into the nearby areas where we placed our research and development centers. Just by having it active, reduced the amount of annoying unwanted visitors by 39%. The way Whisper worked was simply brilliant. As it moved, it would have air pass through the holes in its face. And when the air did that, it could take in all information about anything the wind has touched. And the more it moved or turned, the more information it was able to process. It gave Whisper an almost 360-degree vision range that went on for miles. Plus, the way we engineered it, it had to keep moving to properly breathe, even if it was just fidgeting in place. Whisperer's design took the idea from sharks and how the creature needed to constantly swim in order to process oxygen. That alone gave Whisper amazing reach and radar, letting the company know whenever something not authorized was nearby. And then what made it a truly wonderful security measure was Whisper's ability to sharpen the wind that passed through its hole and direct them in any direction it can sense. Again, Whisper of Cyan Winds can pretty much see in every direction, so that range is almost absurd. So for the longest time, people would just vanish as Whisper sliced them to shreds. It was due to the programming the company has installed into it, and has very little mercy for things not of the company. A person doesn't even mean to locate one of our R&D centers. Just be within the area that Whisper thinks is trespassing. Then if the winds pick up, barely any scrap of that person are going to be found. In one memorable case, it's believed that a hiker's watch was found, maybe 20 years later on the trail she vanished from. So, if Whisper of Cyan Winds was such an effective security means, why was it retired? Well, for one, the company started using more advanced means of security, as well as moving bases from nature to urban environments. It meant that Whisper, who isn't as effective indoors as it is outdoors, wouldn't be able to do the job at 100% ability. Another thing is that Whisper was too zealous about killing what it saw as trespassers. That means not only was it gathering attention from all the people vanishing into the mountains or woods, something that would get the damned agency on our backs, but also Whisper was starting to eliminate assets that were being brought into the labs. Captured people or creatures in mid-transport would just be shredded to fragments because an Ashman wouldn't tag it as company property. So Whisper was retired and most of them decommissioned. It was almost sad to do so. just because it felt like a waste. But Whisper was hard-coded, and its programming was in its DNA, meaning repurposing it would be a long, drawn-out affair and end up being a waste of resources. But a few will be kept in containment for studies and just learning more about its ability to manipulate wind. Everything would die, but at that point, if the company is being invaded, why give them anything? I mean, it's not a hard command to give. Just say its full name and it activates out of hibernation. End of report. It was a good thing that the agents infiltrating the company were able to kill or disable the researchers at the base before they were able to activate Wholeface Harry. Otherwise, from what it sounds like, the agency would have lost the whole time due to the creature's destructive abilities. Make a note to the researchers to be very careful when examining the creature that was taken from the base. It has a high threat index.